Hello, everyone. Hello. Make sure everything's working okay. It's been a while, so we're a little bit out of sync with things. My camera's way higher than it should be, but we're gonna roll with it. It's okay. It's okay. Also, peep the new color in the background. We're getting the nursery ready for my boy. I'm actually going to be moving my setup over a room over, and we're actually going to gut that and make a whole new, like, actual studio, so things can be a lot better. So we got some things working, but things might look a little plain in the meantime, but things are working out. Ivy, hello. No, Ivy, don't let me forget to. Can you message me when we get done? I am so sorry. I meant to get your stuff set up, and I completely just forgot. I'm not going to lie to you. Hello, everyone. By the way, I am George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here for Weather Now, Kentucky. I'm pulling my microphone up just a little bit there. And we got a lot to talk about on this week's episode of Kentucky's Weekly Outlook. If my microphone wants to stay still, we got a lot to talk about. For the first time in a while. We actually have a few things to talk about. So make sure you're buckled in. Get your soda ready. Relax on the couch. If you want to, you can pull us up on YouTube and cast us up on your TV if you like as well. We're live on both Facebook and YouTube this evening, as always. Of course, we'll give it about a minute before we dive into all the information of what to expect, just to make sure people have enough time to dive in here and get settled in so they don't miss out on the info as well. So stay patient with us. In the meantime, if you wouldn't mind over there on Facebook, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen. Get this video out onto your news feed so that way the information can be spread to your friends and family as well. Thank you so much for your help with that. We appreciate your all's help. In the meantime, I'll make sure I greet everyone. Spider Queen, that's Ivy on YouTube. Hello on both platforms there. I like that. Karen, hello from Somerset. How are you doing? Tara, hello. She says heading to like and share on Facebook. See, Tara's got it down. She's viewing on YouTube, but she's heading over to Facebook to like and share, and then coming back to YouTube. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Angel there on Facebook, hello. How are you doing? Nancy, thank you for sharing the broadcast. I appreciate your help with that. Thank you all a lot for the shares and likes that are coming through. Again, this is the first video in a while, so we're going to give it a little bit more time before we dive into the information. Just allow everyone to get the notification that we went live and allow them some time to get on in here. So thank you guys a lot for your help with that. Robbie, I hope I'm saying that correctly. First of all, I hope that was a successful surgery. I hope you're doing better. I wanted to watch your weather update. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support, even through a tough time. Thank you a lot for that. Rebecca, thank you for helping us out and sharing the stream. I appreciate you. Ivy says she shared to the feed share the feed and my mama. Oh my gosh, guys, you guys know, my brain don't work half the time. Nancy, thank you for tuning in from Mayfield. Hello, how are you doing? Is the camera, guys? Let me know. Is the camera a little bit stuttery? It looks a little bit stuttery on my screen, but sometimes that's just because of the preview delay. Let me know in the comments on YouTube and on Facebook. Is the camera stuttery at all? I know my voice is, but. But is the camera stuttery at all? Thank you a lot for your help with that. I appreciate you. Please no snow in Glasgow. We'll briefly talk about some of the snow chances that lie ahead. Yes, there are some snow chances that lie ahead, but a lot of things need to be unfolding before we really know the information on that. So I guess a little teaser there. I see you clearly. Thank you for that update there. Looks fine to me. Thank you, JJ. Oh, I'm glad I said your name correctly. Thank you. Belinda from Maysville, hello, how are you doing? Brittany, thank you for your comment on that. I appreciate that. I think it was my phone, not you. Okay, thank you, Ivy. Thank you, Angel. Okay, I just want to make sure. Sometimes in the preview of things, it can look a little bit different than the actual broadcast itself. So that's why I wanted to ask. Okay, let's go ahead and get rolling into our overlook here. Let me pull this up, make sure I'm looking at this correctly. All right, perfect. So looking ahead, we do have some rain for this weekend, and that might transition to snow at some point. But we'll talk about that. We'll break that down. 60s for this week, of course. Yeah, we felt it the last few days. A little bit cooler today, despite the sunshine that we did see for a little bit. But starting tomorrow, and especially on Friday, I really wouldn't be surprised on Friday, depending upon how many clouds are at play. I wouldn't be surprised on Friday if somewhere in southwestern Kentucky it makes a run at 70 degrees. I'm not kidding. The amount of strengthening of the high pressure that's in place, if the clouds can get out of the way, someone may make a run at 70 in southwest Kentucky on Friday. We'll talk about that as well. And then, of course, the thing that everyone's been talking about is winter is returning. And if you live in Kentucky for a while, if you've been in Kentucky for a while, you know that December is typically pretty mild. Right, we really don't see a whole lot happening there, wintry wise anyway. January tends to be a lot more colder, but still not as active. That stretch that we saw 2 weeks ago, where we had, what was it, a couple snow chances, and some people went. I mean, some people out in Eastern Kentucky, out of the total for the 2 or 3 systems, saw double-digit snowfall, which was absurd, and it was kind of crazy how it happened. Now, obviously, we never projected double inch or double. Oh my gosh, accumulations of double inches out there, or double-digit inches, I should say. My brain, I think I've had too much orange juice. I'm an orange juice addict, and it makes my brain go crazy. So I'm sorry. But that was an absolute wild system. But typically, like I said, that doesn't really occur that often in January. Our main time frame for Kentucky is actually in February for more of the wintry, impactful systems. But some of the bigger systems that I can think of in recent memory, dating back to, let's say, 2014, 2013, our bigger systems have come in late February to early March. They truly have. A lot of people do forget that winter does go until March 20th. A lot of people forget about that because typically, a lot of times in Kentucky, temperatures really start to warm up around that early March time frame. And a lot of people forget about that. The fact that, winter does really go all the way to March. I mean, I've seen snow all the way into April, but I don't think that happens this year. But I'm just saying that the chances are there, and it's not egregious to think that a flip back toward winter solutions may occur. So we'll talk about that and talk about how long it might last. It could be a while. So a lot of things to talk about in this video. My ultimates are feeling the pressure in the air, Tara. I'm sorry about that. Jesse says, I bet summer is going to be a scorcher. We have no idea of knowing that just yet, but we'll make sure we look into that at some point in the near future. Same team. I love orange juice. And I love all of the benefits it gives you, as long as you don't get the real sugary stuff. So, before we get into that, of course, we do have some business to take care of. So, if you wouldn't mind, sit through these messages from our sponsors. It only takes a couple minutes, but these are the people that give us the ability to be here for you all 24/7. So, if you wouldn't mind, just listen to what they have to say and to what I have to say on their behalf. So, first up is a Right Implement. They're actually running a lot of sales on mowing type of equipment, as you can see on your screen right there. Some through February 29th, and then some all the way through April. So make sure you check the bottom portion of the screen, and we'll post these images on our page too. And you can also follow them at Right Implement on Facebook, and I believe they have multiple other platforms as well. But look at that. For the Z900, $0 down for 36 months. You can't really beat that at all. These are great equipment mowers. They last a long time. The good quality. Over 15 locations that you could choose from in Kentucky. So really convenient in that aspect as well. Phenomenal customer service. They won't outdo you there. You got to visit Right Implement. They're phenomenal people, and they have phenomenal products. Next up here is we have Box Drop Bars Down. I want to give a quick shout out to Shamika, who actually took advantage of the free pillow that they're offering when you mention W&K after you purchase a mattress. If you somehow missed that, Box Drop Bars Down is actually offering a free pillow when you purchase an already discounted mattress of 30 to 80% off of retail high-quality mattresses. A lot of adjustable bases there with them as well. Box Drop Barstown. Go support a small business. Also support a partner of W&K. Super phenomenal people. High-quality mattresses. You really can't beat it. Sleep is really important to me. I'm sure it's important to a lot of folks. And you get a free pillow. Just dial or text 502-233-1283 anytime to schedule an appointment with them. Again, you can't go wrong with supporting a small business and a partner of W&K. Last but not least, Romp Fest does return June 26th to June 29th, 2024, out there in Owensboro at the Yellow Creek Park. The best thing about the Romp Fest is not only do they have a phenomenal lineup going on this year with Dierks Bentley, Molly Tuttle, super phenomenal artists that are going to be headlining that event, but they also have a lot of extra fun for adults and a lot of fun for kids as well. So a lot of these events, they only take care of one group, but this event really takes care of both the kids and adults. It's a great time to have a fun time out there. Probably going to be their biggest show of them having it, of their history. You're not going to want to miss that. Get your tickets at rompfest.com. Get them now before they sell. I think they sold out last year. So a great event there. So I'm actually going to pull this out to our main screen now that we got the business taken care of. Thank you guys a lot for listening to those messages. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the shares that we're seeing on Facebook. I've seen the thumbs up come across on YouTube and Facebook as well. Thank you a lot for that. What I want to do Before we go in to the more specific info, first take a drink of water. But I kind of want to look at what's happening above our heads. So the reason we're so warm right now and actually going to warm up going into Thursday and Friday as well, or Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I should say as well, a really strong blocking pattern set up in pretty much almost the entire United States of America. This was even stronger just a few days ago, but you can see it actually shifts out to the east, and as it does, it strengthens for our area. Down here in Kentucky, if you didn't know, let me kind of circle it one more time. Kentucky's right here. And it kind of just strengthens over our area. This is actually valid for Saturday. And then it kind of dips out of here on Sunday, going into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then it really opens the door. I'm telling you guys, even if we don't see a snow chance, there is a small snow chance on February 13th. We'll discuss that. But even if that doesn't verify into snow, that system is going to open the door for the blocking pattern that we've been seeing. And we've kind of been in the same pattern for 10 days, and that's because the blocking pattern set up, pretty much shutting off the Pacific jet stream, which has pretty much led to us seeing the same thing almost every single day. I mean, remember like last week where we saw, what was it? I think 8 consecutive days of just pure gloomy and gray conditions. That's because there was nothing to change the environment. It was the same thing every single day, basically copy and paste. It got really boring behind the weather desk here because there was really nothing to forecast. This system, there will be a system that comes in this weekend and exits the area on Valentine's Day. That system can be a rain to snow event. It can be an all rain event. It can be a mainly snow event. It can be a mainly rain event. No matter what it is, it's actually going to open the door for cold air to come in from the north and dive down into the eastern portion of the United States. And that cold air looks to stick with us for a while. So remember, when we first started this is actually valid for today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, right here, Sunday, then Monday and Tuesday. And then look as we head into the middle part of next week. That blue is significantly below average. And then when we get to the purples and pinks that you're seeing, it's really below average. And then kind of mild it out for the middle part of the month, around the 17th to the 18th. And then by the time the 19th to 20th rolls around, a bigger cold shock comes in. And that's going to be the pattern that we're about to head into. It'll be really cold for a few days, mild out to about the 40s and 50s for a couple of days, and then we're back into a really big cold swing. I think that's the kind of pattern that we're going to see from not only Valentine's Day, but well into March. I don't think this is a pattern that's going to be changing anytime soon based on the other science that I'm seeing. If I went through all that, we'd be here for a couple of hours. But I'll save you guys from a lot of the boring details. Just basically know that from what we're seeing behind the desk between me, Mike, our other forecaster, Neil, Cherie, and even from our moderators, Bo, Bree, we're always talking as well, and the other Mike. And then we're going to actually add Ivy that you see in the chat as well. We're just always talking, and this is what we're seeing. And it's not a pattern that's going to come in, last for a couple of days, and then go away. It's a pattern that comes in and then keeps reinforcing, and then keeps reinforcing, and then keeps reinforcing. So do I think there are snow chances that lie ahead? I absolutely do. Because again, when you get into this time of year, not only are we into, going into mid-February to late February to early March, and you have a cold air supply, we also know that's a typically wetter time for Kentucky as well. Is there a scenario where this could all be rain for the next several weeks? Absolutely. Just a really cold, miserable rain. But I do think there's enough cold air available that there are at least a couple of snow shots that lie ahead. I really do, based upon everything that I'm seeing. One thing I want to really show you real quickly before we get into this weekend system is there actually is a nice rain shot to set up this weekend. I'm going to actually pull up. Let's go to the GFS model. Let me get the setup here for you real quick. It's actually going pretty fast today. Sometimes our weather site takes forever. But anyway, so again, just real quickly, because this is Kentucky's Weekly Outlook, I wanted to show you each day. Wednesday looks fine. I'm actually just going to play this on through here. Wednesday, nothing going on. Speed this up a little bit. Thursday, maybe a brief rain shot. We're not talking about anything that's going to be treacherous or downpour. I'm talking about a couple sprinkles and then it's out. That's if it even happens. Saturday is the main day for the rainfall to occur, looking like Saturday morning, kind of the initiation spot of the rain moving in. What's causing that is a low pressure that's actually developing out there to our west. And I'll pull this out to the national view, show you that in a second. But overall, Saturday does look to be pretty wet. Also, more clouds rolling in, and then that cold air kind of moves in behind it. Now, what we're starting to notice what we're starting to notice is that the backside of this event might get a little bit tricky. It might get a little bit tricky. And what I mean by that is when I pull this out, and I'm going to show you a map that's going to look absolutely crazy. I'm going to go back to the 12Z because I think this is handling it a little bit better. We're going to look at the upper aerodynamics in the 500 millibar vorticity map. This is going to look berserk. Don't get overwhelmed. I'll break it down for you. But what I want to show you is we see this big dive and just dig of a shortwave that's occurring way above our heads. And that usually means that there's a system attached to that shortwave. And we do see that action out here toward Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas. Okay. The backside of this event, as I push this on forward, will feature a second shortwave. You briefly saw it right there. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. Just sitting there in Oklahoma, actually going to undergo cyclogenesis and become a low pressure. Okay. And this is going to get real tricky because there is a scenario where Kentucky can see heavy snowfall from this event. Is that scenario likely? We have no idea of knowing now. And if anyone tells you that they know at this moment, they're lying to you. Okay. The reason for that is because we have to figure out how fast the cold air moves in. We know that cold air is going to move in. We absolutely know that. The timing at which it moves in is completely unknown at this moment. Another important factor is exactly where that low pressure tracks, okay? I will tell you that in a scenario like this low pressure needs to dig a little bit more south and then swing up to the north going over the Appalachian Mountains. Basically, this big circle right here, okay, where my cursor is, this needs to dig a little bit more toward Louisiana and then come up toward, like, let's say Nashville, and then scoot over to the east and go up to eastern Kentucky toward the Virginias and out the Appalachian Mountains. And that is how we get our more classic snowfalls for the February and March timeframe, okay? And when I push this on forward here, what I want to show you, if it will actually work, is it does kind of dig a little bit more and it scoots, but it never really comes up north. So I want to adjust your eyeballs to it one more time, okay? We're looking at this little circle right here, and I can actually go ahead and pull it up on here. Let me just, this might be a little bit easier for you guys. See if it is actually going to work. So there's a low pressure, and there's actually another low pressure just to the north of it, that big circle up there. All right, and the reason we want to look at this is because that low pressure track is the #1 priority to figuring out exactly what this event is going to do. And model data is not handling this well yet because, quite frankly, this is roughly 6 to 7 days out, maybe even 8 days out, depending upon the timing of everything. So you guys know my rule of thumb. Going beyond 5 days is kind of like trying to put a needle into a haystack. It's not going to work out for you very well. So right now, what we look at is what each model run is showing and trend it. Okay, it's kind of trending a little bit more northeast, kind of trending a little bit more southwest. But even that is kind of a false science until the piece of energy actually gets on land, which won't happen for at least a few more days. But what I want you to look at is the low pressure, the big L right there. You see how it transfers its energy. So what I want to show you once again, the big L is down here. There is a low pressure here as well, but it's a little bit weaker, so it's not being picked up by the model data. And then when I click this forward, it actually gets stronger up to the north. The one to the south weakens. This is what we call a transfer low pressure. And that's why this is absolutely one of the more trickier setups that we've seen in a while, because the transfer, the exact location of that transfer is important. When it transfers is important. We also can note that cold air is ready to dive in on the backside, but because that low pressure to the north is a little bit stronger, it's going to block it for a period of time. So there will be a period of rain to begin this event, no doubt in that. It's just a matter of if we transition over, when will that be, how will that be, and how will the low pressure interact with each other as it interacts with the cold air to the north. So as I push this on forward, this is valid for Monday morning, okay? Just a couple days before Valentine's Day. As I push this on forward, we see the low pressure. It digs down to the south. It's coming back up toward Tennessee, and it scoots out to the east. The only problem for you snow lovers is there is a block up here. So we see this big blue circle up here to the top side of our page. That's a block. Okay, that's a high pressure just blocking it. And I know that's several thousand miles away. People are like, how's that affecting this down here? Well, it just doesn't let it come as far north. Now, the model data could absolutely be reading that wrong. This low pressure can cut up north. It can cut out to the east. It can cut up into between the two. And between the two would be your best scenario for snowfall in Kentucky. But again, what I want to point out here is that the low pressure does sneak up toward Tennessee and then scoots out to the east, and then just keeps scooting. If this low pressure on future runs comes up to Tennessee, scoots east, and then instead of scooting out toward the east coast, it cuts up to the north, then we're talking about something, okay? But until then, it's kind of keep an eye on it for now. I do think it's really a 50-50. I really do. Because I think that the model data is overreading the strength of this up here. Because when I talk about looking at current trends versus what's actually happening, it's not really reading that all that accurately. I also want to note to you as well, that blocking is extremely far north, okay? I do think it will have some impact on this event, but I don't think it's going to have quite the impact on the event that model data is seeing. And we've seen that, okay? That last snow event that we saw middle January, right? Where we kept talking about how southern Kentucky and southeastern Kentucky was going to be the main breadwinners when it comes to snowfall. And they were. But the snow was actually allowed to travel further north. And the reason for that is because the model data read too much into the fact that there was a blocking high pressure to our north and gave it way too much credit. So we've already seen this scenario before. So for me, personal opinion anyways, now this is not really science-based, but this is just a gut feeling. I do think that low pressure cuts more north rather than more east. But you also have kind of a catch-22 to that. If it cuts too far north, you're talking about all just brutally cold rain for the entire event. If it cuts perfectly like you really want, then you're talking about a rain to perhaps a heavy snow event. So I think all possibilities are on the table for now. But this is our next event, and I want to tell you that model data does keep it pretty active. So that's for the Monday-Tuesday event, right? And model data does keep it pretty active. A stalled pattern after that, I do think it gets a little bit more active than what it's showing. And then, here we go again, rain to snow. And this little low pressure right here I want to show you, on past runs, it showed this actually being in Kentucky producing a heavy snow. So I think that this one for the 17th to the 18th of February is still something we need to keep our eyes on as well. And then we're talking about, again, late February going toward the 20th to 21st. Remember when that cold shot really got reinforced. We're talking about another perhaps phasing low that might ride up the Appalachian Mountains and create a heavy snowfall event somewhere in Kentucky or somewhere just to the east. So a really active pattern upcoming. For you snow lovers, got to get a little bit lucky. But I will say the pattern does look like a much more active weather pattern when it comes toward wintry weather. But again, there is a scenario where every single event is just plain rain, right? I think temperature. I don't think we're looking at temperatures that we saw in middle January. Okay, I know a lot of people ask me about that. I don't think we're looking at temperatures that we saw in middle January. I really don't. Now, do we get pretty cold? I absolutely do. I think that we get pretty cold for a few days, and then we thaw out, and then a few days of brutally cold, and then we thaw out. But I don't think we're looking at, there was Monticello was like negative 22 degrees one day, and then there were negatives across the entire state for multiple days. I don't think we're looking at that extreme cold because, again, we are a little bit further into the winter solstice. So I don't think we're looking like, at spurly negative temperatures. But I do think there are several cold shots ahead. I do think there are several events ahead. It's all going to come down to timing. I will tell you that you are a snow lover, you want these events to occur at night, okay? You want these low pressures to actually attach to the Gulf of Mexico and then come up because they'll bring more moisture with it. You want the cold air to be able to be really strong and be able to win out. And what you're actually rooting for, and this is going to sound really weird, but if you're a snow lover, what you're rooting for is a lot of rain to snow events because classically in Kentucky, when an event starts as 3 to 4 hours of rain and then transitions to a wet, heavy snow, that is typically our bigger snowfalls. Okay, so that's if you're a snow lover. If you're a snow hater, what you're rooting for is the Gulf air to win out and that the cold air doesn't get as far south as the models project. But I do think the cold air does seep pretty far south. It's all going to come down to timing, exactly where the blocking patterns set up. And where those low pressures really track. So a lot of question marks more than answers on tonight's broadcast. But I wanted to show you just kind of the pattern that we're going into tonight. But I want to show you real quickly, and we're talking about all this cold and snow. I want to show you the projected temperatures for the next couple of days are pretty beautiful, actually. So tomorrow, and I'll get to some of your questions, okay? So tomorrow we start off brutally cold. or not brutally cold, I shouldn't say that. We've seen way colder. But temperatures below freezing throughout Kentucky. And then a quick warm up. Quick warm up up into the mid to upper 50s, some places going up into the lower 60s in Kentucky for your Wednesday. And then your Thursday looks much of the same. I'm actually going to switch models. We're going to the NAM 3K model. And then Thursday looks kind of the same way. So, again, a pretty cold start. Not as cold as Wednesday, but a cold start into the mid to upper 30s. I think these 40s are a bit overdone, but we'll see. But then a quick warm-up once again up into the upper 50s, low 60s. And I think these are a little bit underdone because I think the clouds move out a little bit, allowing some sunshine to get in here. Thankfully, we've gotten blessed with some more sunshine in the last few days. It was absolutely gray and just gloomy in Kentucky for the longest there. It was disgusting. But then, Wednesday and Thursday look really good. And then we'll switch over to the European model and show you Friday. Friday can be absolutely beautiful in Kentucky. So I want to push this out, and you can just see it for yourself. I mean, it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous in Kentucky on Friday. We're talking about everyone getting in on the 60s. And I do think somewhere in southwest Kentucky, maybe Bury, Mayfield, maybe even Hopkinsville, maybe even over toward Bowling Green, somewhere in that southwestern portion of Kentucky is going to make a run at 70 degrees on Friday afternoon. I feel very confident in it. That's if the clouds can get out of the way, allow the sunshine to come through. But overall, a beautiful day setting up for Friday. And then, of course, we have rain moving in on Saturday, rain chance on Sunday, a rain to snow chance on Monday and Tuesday as well. So Friday is going to be that last day for you to really get a lot of things done outside that you're wanting to get done. Thursday looks beautiful as well. Even tomorrow, a little bit chillier than Thursday and Friday, but still looks beautiful as well. You can't really ask for much more in early February than 60s and 70s, guys. This is as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets. So get all your stuff done outside. Friday, I'm excited. I'm a winter lover. I love winter. I love snow. But of course, I also love just a nice 70-degree day in the middle of February. It's beautiful. It feels perfect outside. It really does. Let's get some of your questions out. By the way, thank you to everyone that's hit the like button. Thank you to everyone that's hit the share button. Thank you to everyone that's commented. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. I appreciate you guys a lot. And thank you again for hearing all of the messages from our sponsors, Right Implement, Box Shop Bardstown, Rompfest. Thank you to them as well. Is the 17th and 18th looking bad? That's 12 days out, so we don't have a really great handle on that. No one has a great handle on that at the moment. I will say the pattern looks a little bit colder for that time frame. What about Super Bowl Sunday? It could be a little bit wet. I'm talking about probably a few chillier temperatures, Dustin. So make sure that you're making a hot salsa or something to keep everyone warm and ready to go. Let's keep the single digits away. Tara, unless we get a heavy snowpack, I don't think we're talking about single digits for any of the pattern ahead. How much snow is coming? We have absolutely no idea, Brittany, and it would be irresponsible to put any type of guess out at the moment. Just a true, honest answer there for you. Did I miss anything on YouTube? I don't see anything. I don't see anything good. We didn't miss anything. Yes, Chatbot, thank you for that reminder. Follow us on X. We're almost at 600 followers on X. So thank you a lot for everyone following us over there on Twitter. Brittany, as we said just a few moments ago, again, a low wind snow risk for Monday and Tuesday, and then the pattern just really ramps up after that. So much for an early spring. Yeah, that stuff is so... Don't get me started on that. Obviously, it's just for show, but I think too many people read into that. Okay, to try to keep snow away from traveling to Illinois from Glasgow. We'll just pay attention to updates as we get a little bit closer to that time frame. What do you think the snow chances will occur? Again, Laura, I think there's a small snow chance on Monday and Tuesday. Again, all comes down to the placement of that low pressure track. And then the pattern really ramps up after that. So just keep in tune for updates. I'm not going to put specific dates on everything, guys, because, again, when you're talking about really complex events more than 3 or 4 days out, it gets really blurry. And I don't want to give anyone false information. So I try to stay pretty conservative with that aspect of things. But anyway, I think that does it for us. A nice, smooth broadcast for the first one back here. I know we missed the last couple of them. It's been a really busy time frame. As you can tell behind me, the wall looks a little bit different. We're changing this room over into a nursery for my son that will be here if we're blessed enough to see him come this time in May. And then I'm actually gutting the room that's to the next to me right over here beyond this wall, and we're going to make that into a full-fledged studio so I can actually have a spot to do things. So kind of just intermediate the time frame. That's why it looks really plain behind me. But overall, just a really fun time for us here. Fingers crossed for at least one good snow. Laura, that's kind of where I'm at too. I want one really good snow, and then let's just kind of move on from things. You know what I mean? I don't want any more real big cold. I really don't. No matter how it goes, you still get 6 more weeks before spring. Yeah, it's obviously just for some fun show. But I just think too many people read into it. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's going to do it for us here at WNK. I am George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here for Weather Now Kentucky. If you are just now tuning in or have missed any information in this video, it will be available on both our YouTube and Facebook for you to watch at any point. You can go back and see any of the information at your disposal. Until next time, stay safe, Kentucky.